How many times have y'all been in meetings with a bunch of other young black folks and somebody destroyed the whole damn thing? Jealousy and envy. Even when you study our history, you see some of the greatest black men we ever had were destroyed by other great black men because of jealousy and envy. And the problem with jealousy and envy is this. If this man has the secret that can liberate all black people, but I'm jealous of him, my jealousness is selfish. You know why? Because I will kill him knowing he may have been the one to free all y'all. So if I'm killing him, do I really care about y'all? Hell no, I care about myself and my ego. So us black men, before we come together as men and get done what we need to get done, you got to kill the envy and the jealousy. And that's why I respect Dr. King and Malcolm so much, because for the first time, two serious black leaders, other than Frederick Douglass and Martin Delany, was able to come together, agree to disagree, and King and Malcolm was actually going to join forces. Malcolm met with Coretta Scott King 3 weeks before he was assassinated. Dr. King was in jail at the time. They had sketched out a program for the Organization of Afro-American Unity and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference to come together and work together. J. Edgar Hoover found out about that. You know what happened to Malcolm. And then 3 years later, the Army, you see what they did to King. But that was the first time that two major leaders was able to put the ego to the side for the good of the race. If you got ego, you can't be for us. It's really just that simple. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm into like the conscious rap thing. I write the music. I write the lyrics, and I listen to all that kind of stuff. How many years from now do you think it would take to like get? If you remember like the late 80s and early 90s when it was on the mainstream with the conscious rap, Public Enemy, Poor Righteous Teachers, and the like. How many years from now do you think like we get it, not just back to that, but it could be a movement where we can just, you know what I'm saying?
Right. When conscious artists such as yourself and other brothers decide that we're not going to let the major music labels co-opt our music. That's what happened. You follow me? The conscious rap movement never had to end if we didn't decide to start doing business with the majors. You see that? If you keep it in the neighborhood, you can distribute on your own. See, the principal problem with black people is this. Whether it's music, clothing, books, we do not have a distribution network. Do you understand? So whatever you want to sell, you got to strike a deal with a European. And they're going to charge you so much money that they're going to make all the money and you're only going to get a few pennies, even though it was your mind power that went into the invention. I don't care if you make shampoo, food, cocoa butter, music, you understand? Whatever you do, if you cannot distribute it internationally, you are at a standstill. And until black folks decide to invest the millions of dollars necessary to create an international distribution conglomerate, we'll never get anywhere. And that's the issue I take with the rappers. Because they have enough money where they can create the international distribution network. You know why they don't do it? Jealousy, envy, and they're afraid that if it don't work, they stand to lose millions. What they fail to realize, you're losing millions now because you're only getting 75 cents off each album. Hell, you're damn near being flipped.
That's why we have Black and Nobel.
And that's why we got Black and Nobel distribution. Black manufacturers, black distributors, black buyers, black consumers, like Mr. Garvey said. But keep it local. Keep it local. Don't go that route. That's the way you got to do it. Yes, ma'am. Oh, Chris, what's going on? All right.
I want to ask a question about the children in school.
Okay.
What do you think about this truancy thing when it comes to our children? If they spend 3 days out of school, they spend family support.
Okay, let me tell you about this. First of all, the reason why the kids don't go to school, because they're not wanted. There's nothing for them there. And the school is nothing but a prison without the beds. Okay? There's no such thing as a black dropout rate. There's only a black push-out rate. In case you don't know, if a child has been absent for a certain amount of time, after a certain grade, you can just drop them off the roll, no questions asked. Okay? And as far as this thing about locking up the parents, that's coming from State Senator Anthony Hardy Williams, who's running for governor of the state. And I'm assuming, and I can be wrong, but it appears that he's doing this because it might earn him some brownie points with the white people across the state. Because you don't become governor in this state, not if you're black. Texas, Florida, and Pennsylvania. That's KKK. Texas, Florida, and Pennsylvania. So he's trying to accomplish the impossible. But I don't like his measure. But I'm not going to blame him totally. You want to know why? Because most elitist blacks support his measure. He had a sit-in down at the school district where everybody who supported his measure, which included mostly his ministers and everybody else, said that they thought it was a good thing. Well, let me ask you a question. Most of these boys live in homes where they're single mothers, correct? They normally got 3 or 4 other children, correct? They're barely making ends meet themselves, correct? So if you want to lock me up and I got 5 other kids at home, who want to get my kids? DHS? How much is it going to cost DHS to care for my child a year? So aren't you losing money instead of making money? But listen to me, people. They'll spend the money because the issue is the extermination of black people. People always keep asking a silly question. Doesn't it cost more money to put them in jail than to just properly educate them? Of course. But when you're trying to get rid of people who you've had to deal with for 143 years too long, you're willing to pay any price for the extermination. And that's what they do. It's the same thing with the flash mobs. They flipped out with the flash mob. This is how they use the media to mess with your mind. If you notice with the flash mobs, they actually videotape the kids stomping the people. Yes. They made it like a movie. Remember what I said before? Before you want to exterminate and incarcerate, you must first do what? Destroy the image. Destroy the black male image. Now that the image has been destroyed on channel 3, 6, and 10, now when they start locking up kids all summer, putting them in the big paddy wagons, you want to turn another face because the media has already conditioned you to lose your compassion for the kids. You want to deal with flash mobs? I'll tell you what you do. You give those kids after school and summer jobs. You give them meaningful after school program. You know what the flash mob is? That's a bunch of kids who are saying, y'all should have something for me to do, and since you don't, I'm going to tear up the damn neighborhood. That's all it is. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, we got one more. Listen. I didn't bring any tonight. Last thing, I want everybody to listen to my radio show, the Umar Johnson Show, every Wednesday, 6 to 8, 1540. Don't forget that. 1540 a.m. every Wednesday, 6 to 8. You can also listen online at WNWR.com. I'm on New World Radio, and I have business cards at the end for any of you, particularly those who have children, if I can be of some assistance. Do not get your child evaluated. Do not put them on drugs until you talk to me first.
Could you repeat the radio
1540, 1540 a.m. WNWR.com. WNWR.com. You can also download last week's show anytime until this coming Wednesday show. You can also listen to the radio show on your phone live at 215-554-6101. Good brother.
What time?
6 to 8 Wednesday. And I got to get you on here too before this Mamiya thing jump off.
Doctor, would you also enlighten this illustrious brothers and sisters about the 22% of the literacy rate that they said that they pegged among many of the students that failing to graduate?
Well, see, here's the situation with the illiteracy. They're not teaching. The fundamental problem in education is only 9% of all public school teachers are black. 91% of public school teachers are white. Now remember, the last institution to fully integrate in America was the what? Schools. Do you remember? That went up into damn near 1980. You follow me? So if the schools was the last institution to integrate, how about the people who are actually teaching the black kids in the schools? What do they feel about that situation? See, a lot of the white teachers who teach black kids would rather be in the suburban districts, but there's not enough jobs there. They are forced to be here. And another problem I got with public education, too many people who do not want to teach, who are not teachers by training, are only there to get a paycheck. It's the only job where you're guaranteed to make some money if you're a lawyer and you can't get a job with one of the major law firms. You go and get an emergency cert and you teach. I ain't got a problem with emergency certs if you're there for the kids, but if you're only there to make sure you're keeping food on the table at your suburban household, I got a big issue with that. And the biggest issue is this: the white teacher union, the American Federation of Teachers, the Philadelphia Federation of Teachers, the National Education Association, both of which opposed integration back in the 60s, by the way, okay, are the biggest stiflers of educational innovation. Because anytime you say, look, I want the teachers to only get a raise if their kids are learning. If you want to link teacher pay to student performance, the unions are against it. The unions are against anything that makes white teachers accountable to black children, which is why black teachers got to start their own unions. They got to stop being a defunctory group of the white unions. Black principals got to start their own unions. You cannot do anything with them. You must have your own, or you'll never be able to improve education for your own children. When the union go on strike and I see the black teachers out there screaming, what are you out here for? You should have a whole separate agenda. And the union never has nothing on their list of demands that has anything to do with improving the quality of education for the kids. There's too many people at 440 North Broad Street who have six-figure salaries who don't do a damn thing. There's too many people down at City Hall who got six-figure salaries who don't do a damn thing. If we shook all the jobs that don't need to be there, we would have enough money for all these kids to be taught appropriately. We would also have enough money for them to be hired at a job after school and during the summer all year long. That's the bottom line situation. But we also got to put responsibility on our churches. There's a church on every other corner. There should be a tutoring program on every other corner. And for the mega churches, they should have their own school. I'm not talking about a Christian academy. Okay, I'm talking about a school where you teach your kids regardless of what their religion is, because as Mr. Garvey said, this is supposed to be about race first. Not Muslim first, not Christian first, not Moor first, not Hebrew first, race first. We are all one people. You stand on that. The problem is we keep running into cliques. Put the cliques down and stand up as one race and do what you got to get done. We can fight in private, but we can't be fighting in public. But the situation is put those labels down, because the labels ain't why you suffer. They don't put you into little groups when they stop you on the corner. They don't put you into the middle class or the low class, the Christian or the Muslim. All they see is Negro. Go to jail.
I have one question I wanted to
Do that last one. Do that last one.
This will be the last one.
Right, 'cause we gotta get grip up.
Got a little treat for y'all before we get grip up. So.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No, I just had one question I wanted to ask. What percentage of, especially young males, young black males, that start to reject the whole process of the negative information that they're being bombarded with in the school system, do that on purpose just to keep from going insane?
Well, it ain't the negative information. It's the negative treatment that they receive. See, you got to remember, soon when a black boy gets into kindergarten, he starts to realize that he's not treated like everybody else, even the black girls. He knows something different is going on, but he don't know what to call it. And then when he comes home, his mother and father say, well, it's all your fault. You need to just act right. He's like, damn, it really ain't me. Something else is going on here. So from the time that they start education, they get turned off because education becomes painful. And all human beings, everybody in this room is motivated to do what? Avoid pain and grab pleasure. So if I'm going to keep coming to school and I'm going to keep getting ridiculed, and we know, by the way, that teachers pay more attention to the kids in the class who look more like their own kids at home. So that means the darkest black boy is always in the back. And I think it should be against the law to put a boy's desk up against the wall and he don't even face the rest of the class. You know what I'm talking about? But this is what they do in the schools. So they get criminalized at the age of 5. So if I'm criminalized at the age of 5, and by the time I get to 4th grade, when most of our kids tend to check out anyway, with most of them dropping out in the 9th, I already feel criminal. And then the school uniform is the prison uniform anyway. You follow me? So by the time I get to 9th grade, I have been so marginalized, demonized, and criminalized, I really don't see a problem walking from the school to the prison. After all, they look like the same thing.